Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me. For those tuning in, I'm joined by Malika Horswell, Lassa Yala-Bryan, David Lane, Cosmo San Martino, and the director of Lalin, Allison Girvan. Okay, let's get right into it. Will you tell us, Allison, way back 25 years ago, if I have that right, what was the inspiration for starting your first choir in Nelson?
Well, actually, when I moved here, I started teaching private voice lessons, and I forced everybody that was taking a lesson to sing together. So I've always wanted to have choirs, even when I was teaching privately. That grew into a group that grew into something called Vox Animi, which was the first choir that I actually directed here.
Okay.
And that, in turn, grew into Corazon. Back when Malika was, I think, 11 years old. And that was the beginning of all the choir mayhem for me.
And Vox Animi, was that your treble voice choir?
That was a treble voice choir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did it become SATB at the same time you changed it to Corazon?
No, we didn't. It was still a treble voice choir. The affiliation just went from something that was affiliated with a place to a community group. So this was the first true community choir was Corazon.
Okay.
Yeah, and it a couple of years after that, there was one specific bass who said, "When are you going to have tenors and basses?" And I said, "As soon as some come, and if you can find some friends to come, then we will have tenors and basses." And he found some friends.
I'm sure he did. Awesome. And then when along the evolution of that choir did you start adding in more choirs to the family?
Well, that's a good question. As I've mentioned to you before, I'm terrible with years.
And I did that.
So I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but at some point it was obvious that, that there needed to be something for younger kiddos. And that's when the Nelson Youth Choir started out. That eventually got so big that it divided into, at that time there were lots of boys that wanted to come, and it was still a time where, you know, there were treble voice choirs and boys choirs. So we actually had a small boys ensemble for a while, which was nice because it took away some of the hijinks in rehearsals, or focused it to one place, including my own child that was in that group as well. And then it became something where the middle section, that was 10 to 12-year-olds, there was then a choir added for 13 to 15-year-olds, which I'm sure we'll get to. Malika is now directing. So it just kind of expanded in multiple directions from a couple of anchor choirs.
Yeah. And was Lalin the last one in that family to be introduced?
Yes, Lalin was the last one to be introduced, and that was because there were some really incredible singers that stayed in the teen group well past their teen years, and it felt like it was time to give them something that they could really sink their teeth into musically, and to create a little community for them that didn't feel like they were always needing to be the mentors for the younger singers. So it started small. It started with 12, and it has grown.
It sure has grown. Yeah, it's had quite the evolution. Yeah, cool. Man, that's so long ago. Are there any things that you remember maybe from, like, say, your first rehearsal or your first show with some of those very first choirs that you started?
I think the thing that I remember most about the younger groups was how exhausting the rehearsals were, and how necessary the performances were in order to go, okay, that's why this is all happening, because then the families can witness what has been going on in the rehearsals. All the singers are committed to actually singing instead of whacking each other with hymn books and things like that. So it felt like those performances reminded me where we were going, and so that it was easier to remember in the rehearsal process after those initial concerts, for sure. And for the teen group, I guess what I remember mostly is just how, and Malika, maybe you can speak to this as well, but you know, I was quite young at that time. When I look back now, I didn't feel young at the time, but the age difference between the singers and myself was not so great that it didn't feel like a sort of like a bigger sibling sort of auntie kind of role. And I really loved the feeling in performances of extending the relationship that we had in rehearsals to something which felt very much like it was us, presenting something together, and that really stands out to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a distinct memory of you being very pregnant and then like dropping your music in a concert and like all the singers rushing to pick it up for you, and it just being this like really special time.
Oh, yeah, that was a time. Yeah,
I don't know how you were still doing concerts. You were quite pregnant from what I recall.
Yeah, and not, it was not a very happy pregnant person either.
But you were very chipper in rehearsal.
That's good. There you go. It's my happy place.
Aw. Okay, maybe let's open it up now. Lalin's had quite the evolution from that, starting out as mentors of youth to now, I guess in a way being the same thing, but being a young adult choir. We practice every single week. What are some of the things that go into being a part of this choir for somebody who's maybe never seen us or doesn't know what kind of choir we might be?
Show up to rehearsals.
That's a great place to start.
It's pretty important.
Bring a pencil.
Bring a pencil.
Yeah.
And even before that, I guess it's the audition. There is an audition to get into this group, and it's equal parts musicianship and also how you approach life. I think that's a really big part of it as well. There's a philosophy that happens within the group that if you're not on board, I think it would be challenging for folks not to understand that it's not just about the music in the group. So I don't know if any of you want to comment on how that plays a role in the overall preparation or who you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a commitment that we're all taking part in, and you kind of like take it for granted over like being in it for so long, but there's like definitely like unspoken feeling like you're going to show up for the group and the group is going to show up for you, and also having equity in the group as well, where if somebody is too busy because they've got so many things going on and someone else like me doesn't have as much going on, you can kind of pick up the slack, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there's also a sort of an understanding that it's going to be a welcoming atmosphere and that everyone is going to support each other, not just musically, but emotionally as well. And there's just a sort of kind of willingness to be open with each other, I think, in the group that everyone brings in their attitude to rehearsal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I imagine a lot of that, I think, comes from you, Allison. Like, I think you come to us with such openness. And so if I would imagine being a brand new singer coming to the choir, that very quickly you'd be like, like I gotta be here, I gotta be present, I gotta give myself to this group. Like, and I think you mirror that for us. And help
There's
with
really
that.
nothing like it. Like, it was the first choir that I was in when I joined when I was 14, and it was the only choir, Corazon was the only choir until I joined Lalin, and then I went off and I continued with music education and been in other groups, but there really is nothing like choirs that you direct, and it really shows that it's something special.
Absolutely.
I think it becomes special because, like, we all have expectations of a choir. Like, I've heard a couple new members be like, oh, I'm expecting this or that, and it's usually a complete 180 because it's all love and we're all here and we have so much respect for you and you reciprocate it, and it's really felt by everyone. And I feel like that's a huge part in why it's so different from any other musical experience you can have, is like the community you've created among us, and we pass it along as choir members too,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that in the early days, it needed to be quite intentional, and it was an effort to recenter this way of being consistently. But now it's a non-issue because the people in the group are people who live this way anyway, and so they attract other people who are also similarly inclined, and so there's really not very much that I need to do at all. It's just all of you creating this special community, and other people are drawn to it like moths to a flame, I think, the people that are meant to be in the group, for sure.
And I think that's a beautiful thing too, because then inevitably we take that feeling and we take it off, like you said, Cosmo, you're in the choir and then you go off and you do your life, but then you take that with you everywhere you go, right? So really, like, I don't know, what you foster here ends up being something that you're fostering, I guess that we're fostering everywhere. Yeah, it's special for sure. Aside from that, which is so important, on the other flip side, musically, like we're all musicians here, and there's a certain standard also that is held in Lalin in regards to our musicianship. I'm curious how you felt all of Allison's teachings and the standard that's held in choir affect your just own personal musicianship in whatever style you're doing outside of choir also.
I mean, I'm pretty lucky that I get to go to choral rehearsals with Allison and then lead rehearsals like later that week or whatever. And I think it's like, for me, it's as straightforward sometimes as like, oh, Allison did this thing with the song where she started us here and then we worked backwards. I'm like, ooh, that's a good idea. I'm going to use that next week. I feel like I'm constantly stealing from Allison, and it is a great joy.
I feel like it's every aspect of like music that, like, I always feel like there's something I can take away from it, like whether it's like little nuggets about how to approach a note with your voice, or anything about phrasing. But I think the biggest one is just, which is a little bit outside of the like musicianship, but is just the intentionality of everything. Like, and that's something that Allison, I feel like, always does in music, is like approach everything with an intention. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this piece? And why are we decrescendoing here or whatever? So it's definitely more than just notes on a page. And so I end up always asking myself when I'm doing music or like picking a song doing my own thing, I'm always like asking, what is the intention behind it? Because I think that's like the key, or one of them.
Yeah, learning to be authentic in what you're performing or like sharing with someone is very important. Like, if you're trying to sing a song that you love, it shows that you love it. But if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, it comes across, you know? And that's what I've found always, like doing my own music for myself is, am I enjoying what I'm doing, and is it coming across that way? And like being in this choir has definitely helped me with that, and my own self-confidence of like my own voice, you know, like having reassurance from everyone around me. It was really helpful, like to find my own sound, you know. Yeah.
I think it's a perfect setting for that, because we're all so close and respectful of each other. You have this like nest that's just holding you. So yeah, you can hone all those skills and try something new, and you know that it's going to be okay. You're not on the spot, and you're surrounded by people who are doing the same thing. Yeah.
David's in a bit of a unique position because he's a professional musician who has just recently moved to Nelson and is new to this environment. So what I notice in meeting David and not knowing who he was is that his way of being is just so incredibly open and generous that my hope is that he found resonance in Lalin for the way he already operates.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so grateful to have found the choir, because exactly that. I feel like it just resonates really well with how I want to be in the world. So, yeah, and all of the connections that I've made. You know, I've been in Nelson for 3 years, and so many of the friends that I've made have been from the choir. So I found like music community and social community in the choir.
And part of the rationale behind the way this has evolved to now be a choir for, it was always young adults because it was folks that had reached the end of teenagehood and were starting to enter into their young adulthoodness. But once the pandemic happened, it was really quite obvious that, especially in a place like Nelson, there were not too many organized activities that really were specifically for, and not choirs, there are a lot of choirs here, but nothing specifically for people in their 20s and 30s, you know, that time when social connection is so important, and that a lot of people that grew up here move away and then come back and then are trying to kind of navigate how to create a social structure. So at that time it felt even more important to me to retain a lot of its young adult mandate to have a home base for folks like that. And also mentorship is also really important to me. So there are older singers. I just really want to be aware of how the culture of a group is dictated by where you have the most people, and if the demographic is largely in their 40s and 50s and 60s, it's a different time of life, and I really wanted this to be something which was addressing the time of life that happens in your 20s and 30s. So how it will evolve from here has yet to be seen, because of course we're all getting older, and so the age is naturally getting also higher, but that's a problem for another time.
We've got time to worry about that one.
It's totally true. And like as somebody who moved back here after going to school, and it is very challenging to reestablish roots in community. It's been a very just immediate community to happen. It's been really appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Going back to what Cosmo and Lassa said about intention, Allison, we've all come to know over the years, and so has all the audiences that have watched us. Every time we're coming around to any sort of performance or project, you put so much care and thought into curating something that's so important and timely and can speak to so many people. I'm curious what your process is when you're picking the pieces that you pick for those, or the themes in general.
That's a good question. I tend to be pretty chaotic in my life, and so there's not really a well thought out plan at the beginning. And in fact, it's a little bit of holding an intention that's large enough to gather repertoire in a way that feels like this speaks to this theme in this way. So it's a lot about interpreting things rather than finding the exact piece that fits that theme. It's kind of more a thought of feeling what the need is, either in myself or in the group or in the world, what feels particularly relevant right now, and how can the things that I'm drawn to, or I think the singers will be drawn to as repertoire, how can that speak to those themes? So it's a little bit of massaging to find all of these universal themes, how they apply directly to any given theme. And it, I say I'm a bit chaotic, and it really helps a lot of time, because if I've tried many times to plan something out well in advance, and it always bites me in the butt, because then something clicks, and I think that piece would be perfect for right now, and then there's a plan to do something else, and I have to abandon that plan because I'm not just going to go ahead with the first plan. It has to change. So sometimes it's good to let things be a little bit evolutionary. Let's just call it that, shall we?
I like chaotic.
Yeah.
It happened this year, didn't it?
It happened this year, yeah. I was trying to be so organized, and then the right piece just came, and then, understanding the singers in the group, you hear something and you know that will fit the group well, or in this case, the soloist well. David was one of them, and I heard this piece, and I just thought, oh my gosh, that's David's solo right there, and yeah. It's just too exciting not to act on, and so it just, it has to happen.
Totally. Well, I think that's a great metaphor for life in general. Since you mentioned David's song, also I just wanted to make a point of the fact that you made that arrangement of the Jacob Collier and Aurora song. And that's something that you do fairly often, which is incredibly impressive among all the other things that you do for the choir. Then here you are also arranging some of these gorgeous pieces for us. Where does that usually come from? Like, do you want to do it with the choir, therefore I'm going to arrange it so the choir can do it? Or any of them like just projects for you?
Oh no, never. No, it's always hearing something and thinking, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I think Lalin would really sound good doing that, or they'd really enjoy this piece. And then it also becomes chaotic, because then it's like, I want to do this at the next rehearsal, so let's get a couple of pages of that done and just hope that the rest of it follows at some point. But it originally came from having an interesting combination of voices. You know, I didn't ever imagine that I would be arranging, but a group I had very early on had, you know, a couple of sopranos and a plethora of altos, and you don't find published music that will fit that group in the same way as if you do it yourself, and you know that there's one very strong singer, and so you can feature them in that way. And you're right, it's not many choirs that do this, and I'm really so delighted to know that Malaika, of course, who is an amazing choral director herself, also arranges for her own group, and I know David has done the same. Another singer in Corazon who is like from a long time ago, who is a dear friend of Malaika's, is now also just writing some incredibly beautiful, like arrangements that just make me go, wow, both of them. And that is such an amazing thing, to just be delighted and like startled, but not in a way that it's not surprising. It's just so interesting to see them doing the same stuff, and that they have their own voices. I listen to it and I think that I would never have done it that way, and so I appreciate now the ability to learn from people who have been my previous students and who are now my dear friends and colleagues.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm gonna take us a little bit to the left here. I feel like for Lalin, community is such a huge part of us, not only in ourselves, but also in the way that the choir and you interact with our community outside, whether it's our town or whether it's other choirs that we visit. And I don't exactly know how to phrase this question, but like, who are these people? You know, like, why do they come see Lalin perform? And who is this community that we get to interact with?
Anybody want to?
I've never met them before.
Well,
Most of them are Cosmos family.
And the rest of my family's in the choir.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. Well, that's a huge part of it, right? Between all of us, there is so much of our family here, and so many of our friends that we've made through the choir, that we've made out in the world, and other people who I don't know, but I almost feel like I do, because I see them at every single
It's because
show,
there's nothing
right?
like a Lalin performance, you know? Like, I've heard many people who've never heard or like seen a choir before, and they get taken back, like, that's not what I was expecting, and you get hooked to it. Like, I know this lady who works in town, and I always see her, and I always try to give her a smile. She doesn't smile back, but I always see her smiling in Lalin, like when she's watching. And it's like, we give people joy that they didn't know they needed, you know? Like, I think that's pretty cool. And it's also people who aren't necessarily interested in, like, or like musically inclined themselves, but are enjoyers of it, and we give them an outlet to feel a lot of the time. You know, some people need to be moved by others and need a bit of a nudge, I find. And at least me, when I wasn't in choir, when I took a break, watching choir really helped me. And, you know, listening to many voices together, it shows that people can create something with all having something different. You know? Good reminder.
Indeed.
It's definitely become like a staple of the community, the Corazon Lalin shows, I think. Like they were years back, like the Nelson's cultural ambassador, and it's a small town, it's 10,000 people, so, or maybe a little more, 11,000. But it's just a kind of a annual event, or, you know, the museum shows are kind of, I think, a staple of the community, and we support the community, and the community supports the group as well, like wholeheartedly. And yeah.
And I think leaving Nelson and living elsewhere and then coming back, like it's something you take for granted growing up here, that so many people show up to see like a community choir performance. Like we have such a dedicated audience here. Also, my favorite thing about the Nelson audience is after you sing the song and then there's the Other audiences don't do that, and I love that.
That's why you moved back to Nelson.
Yeah, I needed the.
Yeah. And really, Nelson, there are so many choirs here, so that there is also an understanding from a lot of the people who sit in the audience of what it takes to do what it is we're doing. So there's some of them have never heard choirs before, and a lot of them sing in a choir and understand, and that's a really lovely feeling to have people who get what it takes to present music in that way.
Yeah, shout out like Cottonwood, like Noemi and Kathleen and Bessie and many others that, but this is off the top of my head. How many great choirs there are. Pop-Tarts. Yeah, which is a good addition.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then you have other things too that maybe aren't a set choir, but like fireworks just came to my mind also, where it's like maybe these people aren't in a choir, but they get chances to join something that is that, and Lalin is there to support them. Yeah, I think that's so special. And thinking about our like annual shows or people that know something is coming up, we actually have a lot of those throughout our year. We've got our winter performances, and we've got our year-end shows in June, and like collaborations with Tiny Lights Festival that we open every year, and fireworks and projects that you lead. I think even back to Quintessence that Lalin gets to be a part of. It's so special. Yeah.
Pretty cool, Allison.
Cool.
Doing some pretty cool stuff.
I'm just riding on your coattails at this point.
The bonding that we do in this choir really just elevates so many different parts of our lives, and I just feel like being surrounded by you people and by you, Allison, has made us all such more like in touch, kind of aware people. Yeah, like I think that every time we get the chance to be a part of these amazing performances, or not even performances, but these events that you curate, it's such a unique experience to be able to learn your themes and learn the attention behind these beautiful things that you create and integrate them, and then be able to deliver them to other people so authentically. Again, there's just nothing like it. There's just nothing like it.
You know, I'll say too that to build on what you're saying and to answer a bit of the question about who comes and why do people come. I think right now, more than ever, what we're missing is this example or a vehicle or some way to relearn what it means to be interconnected. You know, there's a lot of individualism. There's a lot of ideological, polarization. this all ignores the fact that we live in relationship with the planet, with each other, and we rely on each other. As much as there might be a push to do things alone, and kudos for people that are doing things on their own, you know, muscling through on their own, that's realistically not the way any of us survive right from the get-go. If we didn't have somebody taking care of us, that, you know, as a baby we would not survive. And choir provides this incredible example of what it is like to be interconnected and interdependent. That, you know, you're talking about how to blend your voice with others without losing your own individuality. You're talking about how to show up for rehearsal so that your section mates have the benefit of your support. All these things are incredible illustrators of how interconnected we are. And at this time specifically, I think whether people understand that the value of that or not, they see it in action, and I think that's something, there's a hunger for that right now, because we're so disconnected from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no matter your political beliefs or spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs, everyone wants a sense of community, you know, and I feel like that's why a lot of people are divided, is because they feel like one community doesn't accept them, and therefore they need to find something that will, you know. And with music, it accepts everybody and it doesn't discriminate, and I think that's why community things like musically are so special, because everyone can relate in that sense. You don't all have to agree, but you can relate with one another. Yeah.
Understand one another too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether you'd like to or not, you know.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the value of tolerance is underplayed, I think. If it's just tolerating somebody else's view and breathing together with them, you know, there's value in that as well. Like you say, just you don't have to agree with what everybody is thinking or saying, but when it comes right down to it, as soon as you start breathing at the same time, there's some pretty special stuff that goes on.
I think that might be a really beautiful sentiment to close with. Yeah. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Phoebe.
This is so nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and thank you for being a big part of this.
For sure. I forgot. There's actually one more question I must ask.
Whoa.
Sorry, guys. One moment, please. Okay, and I hope I'm not putting anybody on the spot or in an awkward situation, but I think this will be, don't worry, a beautiful thing. Allison, for you, like we've sort of already mentioned, every single person in this choir truly does bring something that is so unique and so special and very valuable. And I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind just going down the line here and saying a few words of what have you come to know over all these years with these people are some of the gifts that they've brought to the choir.
I would be delighted and honored to.
And who's your favorite?
I really thought that's where you were going to go.
You said your question should be, who is your favorite and why am I?
Why is it me?
Why is it me? Yes, I would.
Now's your chance.
So Cosmo has, I've known since you were, I don't know, maybe before you were in choir.
A year before, maybe.
Yeah. And so actually everybody except David I've known since they were children. And that's a really huge deal for me, to see people grow from children into adults, you know. Cosmo for me, I've learned so much from Cosmo. Number one thing I think is resilience, and just watching Cosmo navigate a bunch of different talents that he has in order to find his way into music, the thing that speaks, I'm going to speak for him, to your heart, and to be resilient through that process. It's not an easy thing. And so for sure, when I look at Cosmo and I look out from where I'm standing and directing and make eye contact, I think to me, I just feel so great because it feels like you're doing what you're meant to be doing, and you were very resilient in finding that path.
Thank you, Allison.
Yeah. And David I've known for the least length of time, but oh my gosh, I remember David emailing and saying, I don't even know what you said. Like, I do choirs. I'm coming to Nelson. And I remember contacting Malek and saying, okay, well, this guy that wants to meet us, I don't know. It was met him for tea and thought, some weirdo. And after having tea with him, it was just so obvious that that he was such a solid and kind person. And the generosity with which David approaches everything is palpable. You know, he is our rehearsal collaborator, both at the piano as well as supporting parts when they need the support. So it was amazing to me how quickly David felt like he'd been here forever. And the kindness and the skill, I think, for David are really standout qualities.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Lhasa, I have known since, I don't know how old you were, 10, 9?
In Boisville, like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a long time for Lhasa. And Lhasa and I share some pretty fundamental similarities. Our ethnicity has connected us in a way that is pretty profound, I have to say. And so I have to admit that both Lhasa and her sister, I have secretly harbored, parental feelings and very unearned pride in in watching both of them navigate their young lives and find their way. It's been such an honor to just see you grow into such a strong human being, Lhasa. And that's not to mention anything about your musical gifts. Lhasa's voice has always been impressive, and each year that I hear her, it just gets stronger and stronger, and it's rooted in some deeply, there's some serious integrity that goes on when Lhasa opens her mouth to sing, and all I can say is just, for me it's Lhasa's rootedness. It feels so grounded, and I gather a lot of strength from that, Lhasa.
Thank you.
Yeah. Malaika, I have known forever, and also, this parental thing was again, it has to do with brown skin, I think, but people used to think that she was my daughter, and I was always so proud of that. It was like, no, she's not, but I want to say yes, I would be very happy if she were my daughter. And it's always been obvious that Malaika had a gift for music, right from a very precocious young age. Malaika was one of the few people that I taught privately while I was doing choral directing as well, which was a huge privilege just to kind of hear her grow through that process and spend time one-on-one with her. I knew quite early on that Malaika had said that she would like to be a choral director as well, so I always really enjoyed that and didn't know if it would happen, and it did. And again, I've mentioned her gift for arranging. Her musicality is second to none, and I couldn't be prouder of her. And she's also pretty fun to hang out with too. So I kind of like that all these people are now also my friends, and that's a really big deal. And Sapphire, I'll just include you, even though you're the interviewer. Again, I've known you since you were very young, and for me, the thing that has always astonished me about you is how incredibly and obviously gifted you were, but you never ever set yourself above anybody else, nor did you hide your light. And that's a very fine needle to thread, very fine needle to thread indeed. And I remember loving watching you when other people in the group would sing alone, because they didn't even know the support that was going on behind them or beside them. Your face was just, you know, so supportive and so ready to celebrate other people's successes. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it doesn't matter what you do. I think it will be musical, but it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to be brilliant at it because you understand implicitly that, you know, that other people's light does not need to be diminished in order to shine brightly yourself.
Thank you.
Stop crying.
Oh, you guys, I love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sapphire.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Lalin on the Sapphire Sessions. Today, we're here filming at 402 Victoria Street in downtown Nelson, BC. This building has been serving our town for a very long time, since it was founded in 1909 as a Young Men's Christian Association. Back then, it was used as a place for social gatherings, for exercising, for Bible studies, until 1929, when it became the 51st branch of the Royal Canadian Legion. Since that time, it's continued to be a place of community. The Legion, still 100 years later, functions out of the lower level of this building. Now in the present day, this building functions as Studio 88 that was founded by Ellie Hedges in 2022. When she took over, she renovated the entire building, and now it's a combination of venue halls, classrooms, and music and art studios. Her and her wonderful team of teachers offer all sorts of lessons and workshops and camps all throughout the year, and these span from specific music lessons like voice and piano and guitar and ukulele to more digital things like music production and film scoring. Ellie opens up her venue hall to anyone in the community who would like to rent it out for any sort of event or celebration or performance. And Lalin has been fortunate enough to meet there every single week for their rehearsals. Thank you again to Ellie so much for letting us film our Sapphire Sessions here.